Hi, this is Aileen Garcia of the AGSB V88 Marketing Management class, and I am here to talk on Chapter 7, Analyzing Business Markets. For this lecture, we will know if it's B2B or not B2B. Today, we are going to know what a business market is and contrast it with consumer market, organizational buying in its different situations, and the key persons in this process. Let's begin with the business market. Did you know that Apple conceived the idea of the iPhone, but parts come from hundreds of different suppliers? They just assemble it and produce 500,000 iPhones every day. To name a few, their image sensors come from Sony and the display panels from Samsung Electronics. That is a business market. There are organizations like Apple that acquire goods and services used in the production of their items that are sold, rented, and supplied to others. Another example is SM Development Corporation. SMDC acquires from different suppliers to produce their high-rise condominiums sold for residential and commercial purposes. Same is true for popular tertiary hospitals. They have trusted suppliers that provide what they need to be able to serve world-class care within your reach. They are also known for their nicknames, B2B for business to business and B2C for business to consumer marketing. And we will now see how much they are different. As we saw in the previous example, in B2B, companies sell to other companies. Consequently, business goods are often purchased by trained professional buyers. When a consumer buys from a retailer, after he pays for it, the relationship is done. Unlike in B2B, suppliers need to maintain a good and long term relationship with their clients. B2B may have fewer clients, but the purchase is of a relatively larger volume. And because of that, purchasing decisions are made by committees consisting of technical experts and even senior management. In B2B, the demand is derived and inelastic. B2B purchases are geographically concentrated to reduce transportation costs, and of course, in B2B, you directly purchase from the supplier. After we contrast business marketing to consumer marketing, we now move on to organizational buying and its situations. According to Webster and Wind, it is the decision making process by which formal organizations establish the need for purchased products and services and identify, evaluate, and choose among alternative brands and suppliers. The business buyer faces many decisions in making a purchase. Most often, these decisions depend on several factors like complexity of the problem, newness of the buying requirement, number of people involved, and the time required to make the purchase. These are the three types of buying situations. Straight rebuys are routine purchases from an approved list of suppliers, like when Starbucks routinely orders their paper cups or when hospitals constantly purchase their surgical sutures. For modified rebuy, the buyer would still purchase the same but wants to modify the order. So if Starbucks would purchase their paper cups during the holidays, they would just modify the product specification. New task is the most difficult of the three. It is when a company buys a product for the first time, like when a company working on a rented space thinks of buying a building of their own. It will take a lot of analyzing, deciding, and approval before this would push through. The greater the cost or risk, the longer time it will take to make a decision. This table summarizes the buying situations, with straight rebuy being the simplest and new task being the most complex. We are done with organizational buying and its buying situations. We now move on to the last topic. The buying center is the decision-making unit of a buying organization. Consists of all those individuals who participate in the decision-making process. These are the seven key persons, and we will define each one through a local application. First are the initiators. They are usually the ones who request for the item to be purchased. We will use a local application of an ENT department as the initiator who requested for a facial nerve monitor that costs 3 million pesos. Next are the users. In many cases, they are also the initiators, but may include those who will also use the product requested. Influencers are those technical personnel who help in defining the specifications while evaluating alternatives. Next are those who decide on specific requirements and from which supplier to get. Approvers are the ones who authorize the purchase and is usually the most awaited step. so that the buyers can formally arrange the purchase terms and finally make the purchase. Gatekeepers also play a role as they can allow or prevent information from reaching other members of the team. Those are the 7 key roles in the business buying process. We just talked about Kotler's Chapter 7, Analyzing Business Markets, and was able to discuss the following concepts. This is Aileen de los Santos Garcia of the Ateneo Graduate School of Business V88 Marketing Management class. Thank you for listening and have a fine day ahead.